ladies and gentlemen. I will speak about the subject which you see here. And the reason is the following one, is that Rail Baltica is not only a simple transport project, but mainly what we call a transformational project. It's not a marginal change. It will change, it should make a breakthrough, not only in transport, but also in economic activity. The change it will induce will lie especially on the ground of activities, or location of activity, and on level of activity, the GDP. And they will last also in the long run, not only in the short run, but in the long run. So we have to make a special attention to those dimensions. And the special attention must be made in accordance with the cost-benefit analysis. The project will be the subject of a cost-benefit analysis, which will be the next presentation. And the first question to arise is to what extent cost-benefit analysis address this question of economic activity. What are the limits of cost-benefit analysis? Here is the outline of my presentation. First, why to go beyond cost-benefit analysis? Then, what do we know about location effect? What do we know about growth effect? And second, what is the impact of policies to foster economic development around this infrastructure? The limit of cost-benefit analysis is an essential tool. It gives a very an overall view of the interest of the project. It allows to compare different projects, and it gives a very well-established set of procedure, and it is indispensable. I have worked enough on cost-benefit analysis to know well how it is useful. But it does not give some point which are the final effects. Let us take an example. When you save €1 in freight transport, the cost-benefit analysis may take account of €1 as a benefit for the transporter. But this benefit will not stay to the transporter. Due to the economic exchanges, it will go down to the forwarder, then to the industry, and finally to the final consumer. So you don't know, when you take into account only cost-benefit analysis, where is the final effect, and you don't know exactly where if the euro which you have saved is maintained in a euro at the last time for the final beneficial. So what we'll try to enlighten, to try to enlighten, is the location effect and the level effect on level of economic activity. For these studies, this effect, there is a major tool, a universal tool, which is accessibility or connectivity. I will not insist on this point, as it has been mentioned, but it is quite clear that accessibility or connectivity is an essential tool to understand how location appears and how economic growth and where economic growth appear. So first, location effect. I will first show you an effect of location and speed due to high-speed train. It is an amorphosis map of France. In the red, you see the geographical border of France, and with the location of various cities. Marseille, for instance, is here. Montpellier is here, and so on. And in blue, you see how this map is transformed by high-speed train. You see that Marseille is much closer to Paris than from the geographical map distance due to high-speed train. And the consequence is that high speed fully changes the geography. Another illustration of this point is in Spain. You have in red the rail network, and the colors provide indication on the accessibility to rail network. And you see that when you are on the rail network, you circulate very easily, you move very easily from one station to another. And when you are far from the rail network, it's another problem. You are much less endowed in mobility. Another point is on the long run. You have on the long run, there are two maps of Netherlands. The first one on the upper left is in the middle of the 17th century, before railway. The three other ones are successive maps, and the last one is just before the war, when the railway has been completed, not fully. After the war, there have been other lines, but when at a certain state of the railway network. And you see the colors give the relative accessibility level. The accessibility level is over the average for red colors, and is below the accessibility level, the average accessibility level for yellow colors. And you see that the building of the railway network has induced a polarization of accessibility. Many areas of Netherlands which were rather well accessible at the beginning are not more, and accessibility had been concentrated to some special areas, which are mainly the Randstad. And it's possible from such statistics to try to see what are the effects of a change in accessibility to the population location. And the same study, which I quoted because it is a long run, and the Rail Baltica will be a very long run investment, and we have to forecast long run to try to assess long run effect. And in the long run, in the econometric studies made in Netherlands shows that rail attracted population, rail station attracted population. This goes in line with the lessons of economic geography theory, as well as a lot of statistical study, show that there is polarization and concentration around the nodes, the station, connection and interchanges. And also, perhaps not so sure, but very often, when a link between two agglomerations is improved, migration goes from the smaller to the larger. Another input, another way to see what are the effects of infrastructure on location is through spatial modeling. I will not develop this point, but there are models which include economic activity and location of activity on one side, and transport improvement on the other side. And they make us able to see what will be the effect on location of an improvement in infrastructure. And there are many such models which are used by the European Commission. Many of you should know them well. I will just present a specific use of these models, which is the use for the Grand Paris project. The Grand Paris project is an automatic metro which will go around the Paris area. Paris area is at the center of this map, and you have two circles which will do this, which will go around Paris, and it is a huge project, probably comparable to Rail Baltica, and we run several models to see what would be the effect of this infrastructure on location, and I show you the result of one of these models. One of the results, because those models provide a lot of information. I just picked one. And it shows the change in employment around in the Île-de-France area due to the new high-speed, not high-speed, the new automatic metro. And the change in employment, the most important, the scale should be read large change, large positive change, and blue, large negative change. And you see the attraction caused by this new infrastructure around the station, of course, around the station of the metro, which will be a concentration around the metro, coming both from the external part of the region and the rest of France, and coming also from the center of Paris. I skip growth effect. Growth effect. The general lesson from the analysis of growth effect is that infrastructure improvements induce increase, let us say in GDP, to make things simple, to a various extent and with heterogeneities. The first illustration of this fact is a graph which is drawn from a European Union study, Epson study, from which I draw several graphs, which provide an indication of the accessibility in the horizontal axis compared to GDP in the vertical axis. And you see that there is a clear, sure, but not quite precise, accurate link between accessibility and GDP. There is a lot of uncertainty, but the general line is quite clear, is quite sure. I skip this one. Another manner, another way to take a view of the impact of infrastructure on GDP is through macroeconomic studies. So the studies relate the stock of infrastructure to the GDP of the country or of the region or of the area. So the comparison can be made either through the time, let us say, for instance, for the 20 last years, or between countries, for instance, Europe and so on. And there have been a lot of such studies which are linked to the general theory of what is called endogenous growth. There are a lot of those studies, which some of them are summarized in the review, which has been done rather recently. And you see that the number of studies more than 500. And the column of interest is this one. It is the elasticity of GDP to endowment in infrastructure as a whole. And you see, for instance, on the first line, Europe, that the mean value of the mean result of also studies for Europe is that an increase of endowment in infrastructure of 10% induce a 3.9% increase in GDP. Another look at this effect on GDP is provided by urban economics. Urban economics tells us that productivity and economic activity is fostered by accessibility. And it provides us with the three channels, the three main channels through which this impact appears. The first channel is sharing. When you increase the activity, the accessibility, more common goods such as infrastructure are available for more people. The second point is matching. For instance, in the case of labor market, when the labor market extends, a worker can find more easily a work which is just on his specialty, and a firm can find more easily workers corresponding to its specialty. And learning, when firms are closer, they can learn more easily from each other on productivity, organization, and so on. The effect is mainly intra-urban, and there is also on this point a lot of study which shows that this elasticity of productivity to accessibility, or shows something which is similar to the previous elasticity I showed you. This elasticity of productivity to accessibility is in the range of 2 to 5%. Depending on the sector, of course, I don't detail, depending on the sector, depending on the distance, and also. And another impact, which is related to the previous one, is the effect on the labor market, especially on exclusion zones. It appears that better accessibility can improve the labor market, decrease unemployment, reduce exclusion zones. General lesson is that a decrease in transport costs induce polarization and concentration, and due to increased return of scale and increased variety of goods induced by better accessibility and larger market, the big agglomeration benefit. I show you also the result of a model, because for GDP2 there are possibility to use models similar to the previous model I showed you, and this model assess the effect of a change of a change in accessibility and GDP under the effect of the 10 project. And you see that, but no, you don't see it, not very good because the, the colors are not very well given here. But if you could see, you should see that there is a relation between change in accessibility and change in GDP. Another point important is the lesson of ex post studies. A lot of ex post studies have been done after the building of new infrastructure. I think that it is a very good discipline to set up observatories to see what happens once the infrastructure is built. And it allows to improve the running of the infrastructure, and it provides a knowledge for the future. The rail effect on firms, many studies show that there is a reorganization of firms between headquarters and affiliate, with increase in productivity and employment. The rail effect are mainly on services and high services for large agglomerations. The higher services, the larger agglomeration. And also road effects on firms comes from enlargement of markets and increase in competition and inducing a decrease in price. I have, up to now, I've shown you several approaches to take, to grasp the issue of effect of accessibility on GDP. There is a big problem, which is the additionality issue. Does this effect add or not? The general opinion is that much of them overlap, and that the most robust one are agglomeration effect. Another question, which is very difficult and should be assessed very precisely, looking at the studies and their results, is that whether they add to CBA result. In view, agglomeration effect add to CBA results, but this point can be, should be assessed. Impact on policies, the last part of my presentation. First point, preconization are hazardous because first, scientific are rather shy and prudent, and second, that is there is no automatic outcome. The specificity of situation is very important, and of course there are a lot of uncertainties, economic, general economic crisis, and so on. The point is that, at least for rail, the size of agglomeration matter, and as well as the proximity of the city. And I will exemplify it by the case, two French cases, the case of Lille and Marseille. Lille is served by a high-speed train. A new station has been built, and it has been the opportunity to change the urbanism of the city through a very important new urban project, which called Euralille, which is 600,000 meters, square meters of offices and houses, which changed the city. On the contrary, Mâcon, I will not show a map of Mâcon, but Mâcon was a bit a failure for two reasons. Mâcon is a small city rather small. It is 60,000 inhabitants between Paris and Lyon. And it is not exactly deserved by the track, but the track is about 20 kilometers from the center of the city. A new station has been built along the track, and it was hoped that this station would be the beginning of a new urban industrial activity area, which did not work well for two reasons. The first is that the station was a bit far from the center of the city, of the existing city. And the second reason is that Mâcon, as a small city, rather small city, is not much there is not much train calling at Mâcon. So the quality of service is not as good as for Lyon, for instance. I would, at the end, stress for the role of public policies in order to grasp the best of an infrastructure investment. The first public policy to address is transport policy. And I would underline the importance of the feeder to the main infrastructure. For instance, tram, buses connecting with the station. In the case of a high-speed train, no usual train, normal train connecting to the station, to the high-speed station. And from this point of view, I would show you another map of France where you see both the high-speed line, which are in blue, and rather limited, as you see, and all the train where TGV, the same train, are running. And you see that and of course, the services are connected, and when you arrive, for instance, in TGV in this station, the connection, bus connection, have been organized to have a good connection. And you see that from a rather small high-speed network, you can irrigate the whole country. You can irrigate the whole country. Another point is the organization of parking around station. As in rail, the stations are very important. And other public policy are urban regulation for housing and offices around the station and further, in order to facilitate the migration which could happen and to let the market play its role. Also, a cooperation between public authorities and private firms. I would show you several examples. First, in Japan, the Japan Railway, the station in Japan the station operator act as developer around the station. So there is an integration of transport and economic development. Another point, another example, on the project, the waterway, inland waterway project Seine-Nord-Escaut, the promoter, the infrastructure manager, has made what I could call road shows to attract private firms along the waterway and to foster in intermodal platforms. Also another example on the Société du Grand Paris. I would also stress the importance of nodes. In an infrastructure, the important point from the economic activity point of view are the nodes, of course. And also target the right sector. And to end, I would summarize the main message of the literature, that infrastructure induce location effect and foster economic activity to various extent, and the size of those effects seems to be linked to the direct effect. And this will make a transition with the following presentation of the CBA analysis. And, but you have, so the effect depends first on natural tendency. I tried to show you the natural tendency, and in my view, it's important not to have a good knowledge of them, and it is not sensible to fight against them, or at least you must know why, and if the trade-off is favorable. Second, the success depends on public policy and private entrepreneurship and their coordination, but I think that those points are the subject of your efforts, and I have no much fear on this point for Rail Baltica. Thank you very much for your attention.